Well, we are now ready to put seedings in. We spent a few hours picking some stone by hand last night, and a few hours this morning doing the same thing. My brother and nephew are running around with a skid steer now, picking what they can with them. Andrew's rolling the fields ahead of the grain drill. We're gonna seed it, and then he's gonna come back in and pack the ground afterwards. So we ended up bringing this over here the other night. We've got 75 bags of alfalfa seed in the large box. And then we ended up filling up the small seed box, which is on the back of this drill here just a couple of minutes ago. This holds about seven bags across these three 10-foot drills. So we're going to go ahead and get to the field. Andrew's got a fair amount ahead of us packed, and we'll start seeding. And like I said, he's going to come in behind us. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Well, we're just rolling up to the first two little small fields that we're going to start with. We picked both of these by hand this morning. After my brother went around it with a skid steer, and it was quite a few small stones left in it, and then Andrew went through and rolled both of them. You can see how nice and smooth that is. The roller will push the stones right down in, but we just don't want any of these stones to surface. So it is dry. We haven't gotten any rain here in quite a little bit, and we of course need to get some, or else this seeding that we're putting in is not going to germinate. But we can't wait for it to rain and then not be able to get it planted. So the idea is to get everything planted and then hope it rains. So we'll get things dialed in here. I haven't used this tractor since I planted corn with it. And yeah, all right. Alrighty, so here we go. We have had to create a new profile for this grain drill. Now this display that I'm using is a Gen 5. I have not used it on this grain drill. We would have had this in the chopper last year when we did the seedings, and when my brother planted wheat, he would have used we would have had the 4640, and we would have had the 4640 in this tractor and this Gen 5 in the 8700. We have a display in the other chopper, and that's laid right in there. So I had to make up a new profile. Andrew's using the 4640 display in the Roland, the tractor that he's got on the roller, and he's using that for auto steer. Just because when he ends up going back in here to roll after this is planted, it's going to be hard to see where he's been, especially when it gets to be dark out. So this field here, I had to create a new boundary. Man, it is dusty. I had to create a new boundary because things have changed a little bit in this field since we put corn in it last spring. So we would have put corn in it last spring. We harvested the corn in the fall, last fall. Then we came in and put wheat on this, and then I ended up harvesting the wheat here, well, about a month ago, I guess it's been. And then it had been manured. And man, it is dusty. I'll turn you guys around here in a minute once I end up getting all the way around this field here. I gotta change my pages on this display. Things are a little different. Profiles are all screwed up because this was in the corn planter last, so I don't have as many pages here. So we've been all the way around. I'll hit save on my display. Boundary saved. Alright, I gotta figure a few things out here. Zero that. Alright, we have that little field done in behind us there on the other side of this roadway. Now we're starting on the second one here. And as you can see, it is mucho dusty. So we're recording a boundary pass around the outside of this field. The county ended up mowing some of this roadside here, and it looks like Aqua has their hydrants identified, which is mucho good. And Andrew bush hogged some of this over here, and now we'll be able to get right up on that bank and bush hog a little more of it. As we're driving around the outside of the field, we're recording. There's a, well, you guys can't see it, a bucket load of stones up in the woods there that we picked off the field. Now we don't have markers on this drill, so with it doing a recording around the outside of the field, we can use that recording, which was a new feature on this 4640 display and the Gen 5. What you could do is make your next pass around the field, it'll do it based upon your recording of the boundary. In other words, it will follow your first pass just by doing the off track or the offset of the edge of that grain drill, where it is recording the boundary of the outside of the field, and then it'll jump over 45 feet, put a guidance track right where the tractor needs to be from the edge of the field, 45 foot from the edge of the field. A little less than 45 feet. The drill's 30 feet. I'm recording 29 foot 3 inches. So we'll come into this corner here. It's too sharp to turn it. So I'll come into it like this. And then we'll pause it. Lift the drill. And for the most part, when they cut this, they can cut this as one field. Just kind of skip over the driveway. And then we won't have to monkey with headlands going all the way around. And I'm going to plant this driveway pretty tight. Come up into this corner here. Just back down into this corner like so. Turn my recording back on, resume with that. Put the drill down, get this rolling again. And as you can see, we're putting the first couple of rows. Maybe you guys can't see it. Put the first couple of rows of the right hand side of that drill right on the edge of the driveway. That'll keep our weeds down, and that'll allow us to be able to maintain the driveway. And we're all the way around. Lift that up. Save our recording. Up. There it goes. Alright, I'll go into my guidance. Guidance, set track, new track, boundary fill, next, save. So it is using my boundary. Yeah. Alright. As we get into these other fields, we'll kind of show you what things look like here, but it's just going to be a plain day of drilling alfalfa or seeding alfalfa. We're really not drilling anything. All right. Well, this is the last pass of the second field, and between these two fields I ended up planting just shy of 6 acres. So we'll go ahead and get the drill folded up. We've got to drive through a swamp, more or less. And we'll get back into, we got 2 more fields to do right in this tiny location here. We're on the north side of I-90. So these next 2 fields we go to are right next to the thruway. Yesterday when Sarah was disking this, she said it was a big dust storm. And the dust was migrating across I-90 here. So that must have been something for the motorist to drive through. kind of show you this laneway here that we have to go down. My father ended up knocking all these trees back. Put a nice gravel driveway in here. It wasn't too bad chopping in here last year, pulling this corn out of these back fields. But when we chopped this year before, we had to yank everything out of here in dump wagons. Straight trucks, a couple of them could get back in here, but we didn't want to risk getting the truck stuck and not being able to get the chopper out of here and doing all that hocus pocus. But when I came back in here with the combine this year, I got about halfway back in here, and halfway between where we are now and where the field is way up there, it was flooded out. It's like, what in the hell is going on here? It's like, well, the water's not getting from one side to the other. So there's a culvert pipe, a cement culvert pipe that goes underneath this driveway, and it's right here. The water, well, we went by another water passageway back there. So you got the water that goes from this side to that side there, and it goes on yonder. Well, we had them little creatures in here that like to build dams, and they were in here. They had it dammed up. There was water. There was a foot of water from here down, but it was all solid driveway. We were able to get through it. My brother screwed around with it and got the pipe to start taking water, and it kind of drained itself, and then we had to come over in here with some equipment to make this look the way it is, and then we put some more stone down. So them little bastards, they worked steady for a good week, 10 days. We kept having to come over and interrupt what they had built, and then they finally got the picture, and they moved out of the area. So we've got this field here. You can see the traffic on the other side of these evergreen trees here. And then we've got another field over there. There's about 20 acres or so back in here. So we'll go ahead and get this let down. Get it unfolded. Gonna have to go on back there and top off the seed boxes. So we've got to go to my iPad here, and I've got to fill in our seeding for that past field. So we'll get that done. Alright, so we are done with this last field that's back in here by the throughway. We went made our first time around. I had the camera on while we were coming down through that one side there. So we've got some stones that are sitting on the surface. We'll roll this, now we're gonna come back in here after it's rolled and pick anything that is still on the surface. Andrew, he just called me a minute ago. He says, hey, are you missing anything on your planter? I said, well, it's so freaking dusty, I don't know. So I got a disc for you that belongs on your planter, on the drill rather, and the bolt and the washer and everything is right here. I'm just typing in what we got here. So we had 14.5 acres in this field, 7, 3.3 and 2.2. So we've got 7, 14, I've done 28 acres. So the one variety that I started with was a WL 3471. And we ran out of it and switched over to 3473. So I've noted that here in my notes, and as we get going on with fields after this, you know, it's all going to switch over to, or it's all going to be 3473. So we're going to meet Andrew out on this front field. He is packing it. And he's packing it. And we'll get our disc and bolt from him. And I need to stop over at my pickup, which is on the way here, and grab a 15/16 socket and ratchet and tighten it up. So all we're doing is we're just dropping the alfalfa seed on top of the ground. You can see some of it right there where the drill turned around and whatever. So we're just dropping the seed right on top of the ground. We really don't need the discs on there, but we do need the discs to help with keeping that apparatus up off the ground so it can just kind of hover there. We don't run a lot of pressure on the, see some alfalfa seed right there on the ground. What happened there? It's kind of feathers it across the ground, and then we'll go in with a roller and we'll pack this. And it'll be all nice and smooth. We'll come in here with a telehandler or the backhoe, and what we'll do is we will hand skim it. We'll just ride on the loader, run around and pick anything that is surfaced or anything that is still on the surface, grab it so that the hay bind doesn't grab it, or the disc bind, if you will. So we'll go ahead and run out through this driveway here. I mean, you can see how much dust there is just from pulling out of this field. But yeah, the beavers have relocated themselves. They are non-existent anymore. I don't know where they went. Yeah. So we're gonna keep on with it here. We need to step up our game a little bit because Andrew is catching us, and we need to set our pace a little faster here. So we'll join up with you guys in a little while here. We'll get our disc bolted on. We'll figure out what row unit is missing. And hopefully the threads are still okay, because usually when those loosen up, fall out, they tear the threads out of themselves. That is some nasty looking green water. But being that it hasn't rained in a while, the douching, self-cleansing hasn't happened here. Alright, we'll keep on keeping on here. We'll turn the camera back on once we get out of this driveway here. And we'll show you what Andrew's up to, and we'll show you the finished product here, if you will. Alright, there wasn't only about 10 seconds from the last clip to this one. Andrew's making his rounds here. It looks like he has the field to our left rolled, and he is rolling the other one here, and you can see the frickin' dust that is coming out of or off of the roller here. And you can also see that we've got a lot of dust on this hood of this tractor. And we need to figure out where we're missing the disc from. Doesn't appear to have been missing on this drill. Oh, right there. So we'll have to thread that in there. And yeah. You've got a wrench too? Where'd you get the wrench?
Next to the seat.
Huh?
Next to the seat.
Next to the seat?
Yeah.
I even got to go back to my truck.
Oh.
All right, let's put this on there. This guy's got tools and everything. I'm not even prepared here. Where are we? We're right there. All right, let's get this on there. Better make sure we ain't got any others missing. I don't even see. Ah. Let me see that wrench. Alright, we're getting this on there. Oh, baby. Oh. Threads were good. It's amazing. We've lost these before, and it's amazing that you find all the parts. There's your wrench. Oh, yeah, I don't know where. Let me see that wrench back again. I don't know what we got going on here. I think we've got a bent disc. That's probably why it fell off, because or it's that stinking washer. Yeah, it's the stinking washer. They don't do a left side or a left-handed thread on this left side. It's got a sticky spot to it. But I think it's in the frickin' washer. Let's go ahead and tighten this right down. Oh, it's working. It's working. What field was this in? Where? Oh, that's the second field I done. You don't need this wrench for anything, do you?
No.
I'm gonna keep it with me.
Unless for the corn planter then.
So keep your eye out for any other parts that I drop on the way here. So, yeah. It's a little dusty. All right. Good observation, right?
Yep.
All right. Got all our discs on the right drill, the center drill, and the left drill. So we're just gonna keep on keeping on here. One thing I noticed was this stinking guy here was all cattywampus, but that's okay. So we've got, you know, like a quarter mile to go down the road, and we're gonna get to our next field here. So it was good that he had a wrench with him, because I would have to go up the road to my truck, grab one out of the toolbox. Oh, you can see that. Look at how dusty that is. Yeah, buddy. How good of a job that roller leaves. Now, when you're seeding alfalfa, you want to leave the seed right on top of the ground. And the smoother you can make the ground, the smoother it's going to be for when you chop it and harvest the hay off of it. So that's what we are being able to achieve by using that right way roller. Now, what we used to do is we used to chisel a disc with a conventional disc, and then we would go in with our roller harrow, a brilliant roller harrow, and you know, obviously pick the stone depending on how stony the ground was. If it was real stony, we would pick the ground before the disc, but we always picked the ground before the roller harrow, and we would go in after the roller harrow and skim off any stones that were on the surface. And as you can see, there isn't frickin' anything there. But we just feel that the roller leaves it so damn smooth that we get a better crop off of it. And I got frickin' dust rolling off of me here. So we'll be to the other field, which is just up here, a few hundred feet, and we'll start in planting on that one. Yeah, alfalfa seed laying on the ground. All right.